Hey, it's Dave here, and in this video we're going to talk about the role of small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, or SIBO, in irritable bowel syndrome. So, as we know, irritable bowel syndrome is this functional digestive disorder. It comes along with bloating, constipation, diarrhea, abdominal pain, sometimes heartburn and acid reflux, and oftentimes people feel generally unwell in themselves as well. Different mood swings, low energy levels, possibly chronic aches and pains, skin problems, problems sleeping, things like that too. But one of the interesting things is that if you have irritable bowel syndrome and you've been sent home saying nothing can be done by the doctor, then I would ask the question, well, if I have an irritable bowel and it's irritable, why is it irritable? What's going on to irritate my bowel? And one of the answers is this thing called SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And some of the studies done in this area indicate that 60 to 80, maybe even 85% of people with irritable bowel syndrome actually have small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. Now, that doesn't prove that SIBO causes irritable bowel syndrome, but it pretty much indicates there's a very strong association between the two. And then when people are treated with the relevant antibiotics in these medical studies, often their symptoms improve. So we got to then ask the question, is it irritable bowel syndrome or is it just bacterial overgrowth, right? So that's the key to this video. So why does irritable bowel syndrome occur? Or first of all, what is it? Well, it's basically an overgrowth of different types of bacteria in the small intestine. Small intestine is supposed to have lots of microbes in there, but the large intestine has a gazillion more microbes hanging around in there. So while we're supposed to have bacteria and other organisms in our small intestine, the overgrowth in SIBO means that we have far too many bacteria. And so that's the problem. Now, those bacteria don't necessarily need to be bad bacteria. All the friendly microbes that hang around in the digestive system that are supposed to be part of the microbiome, they can overgrow and become problematic. So that's when the good guys turn bad, if you like. And the problem is that these bacteria generally are not being washed out and down through the system properly. We're going to talk about what predisposes people to SIBO and the root causes of it in another video. But for now, it's enough to know that if the bacteria are overgrowing up here, it means they're not being washed out properly. And possibly they're being migrated backwards and upwards from the large intestine as well. So you just get too many. What is the problem with that? Well, we have too many bacteria in the small intestine. They get to ferment the carbohydrates and the fibers that you eat in your day-to-day living. And so when that happens, we get the production of gas. And you can have three different types of gases produced in SIBO. You can have hydrogen, you can have methane, and you can have hydrogen sulfide, which is abbreviated as H2S. But when you have hydrogen SIBO, it generally increases the rate of motility in the bowel and can lead to loose stools and diarrhea, as well as bloating and pain and all of those things. When you have methane, there's a tendency more towards a slowing down and constipation. This is not exclusive. Sometimes methane might cause diarrhea and sometimes hydrogen might cause constipation, but generally hydrogen is diarrhea, methane is constipation. If you have a mixture of both hydrogen and methane overgrowing or produced by the bacteria, then you can have a bit of both. You can have alternating constipation and diarrhea, and that's very common in people with irritable bowel syndrome. And then this final gas, hydrogen sulfide, that can produce a little bit of everything as well. So the gases cause problems. These bacteria also cause or produce compounds called endotoxin, or LPS lipopolysaccharide. Endotoxin is the easiest way to say it. And these endotoxins are very irritating to the immune system in the digestive tract. And so you get a lot of immune stimulation in the GI tract, and then you get inflammation in the GI tract. And so you get this nasty scenario in your digestive tract where it's all inflamed and red and painful, right? And ultimately that can then lead to leaky gut syndrome. And so a leaky gut allows things into the bloodstream that have not been digested properly, so foods that have not been broken down effectively. And these toxins, the endotoxins, can also leak through into the bloodstream, and they can trigger problems elsewhere in the body, neurological problems, autoimmune issues that can then affect many different organ systems and tissues. And so it's a really big deal. A little bit of IBS now might turn into something that's a lot more problematic further down the line if it's not dealt with. And the problem is most medical centers, doctors, clinics don't really recognize SIBO as a problem, even though the studies in the medical literature and the scientific literature point to SIBO being a major problem. And so that's an issue. So if you've been sent home with IBS and a few drugs to try and just calm the symptoms down, please know that there is a solution. You've got to figure out what's going on, and then you can fix it. Now, one thing must be said about SIBO, which is that it's not always the only problem. So SIBO is a contributing factor, but you can also have yeast and fungal overgrowth with things like Candida. You might have H. pylori. You might have some parasites. You might be eating foods that are irritating the digestive tract. And all of these factors kind of come together, club together to cause your individual symptoms. Now, the way you fix that is, as I said a couple of moments ago, you run the right tests. Run the right tests, find out exactly what's going on in your situation, and then take the necessary action steps according to your individual circumstances. Not your next door neighbors or your best friends or the guy that you read about on the internet, but your individual circumstances, and then you can overcome the issues. Now, if you'd like some help with this, then please don't hesitate to contact us. All our contact details are below this video. And if you want to learn about how to test for SIBO and some of these other microbes, there's also a link beneath the video window to help you with that as well. So in the next video, we're going to talk about what predisposes you to SIBO. Why might it develop in the first place? Because it doesn't just come out of the blue and cause a problem without a reason. There's always another underlying cause, or maybe several layers of underlying causes that lead to the overgrowth of these microbes in your digestive system. So we'll talk about that next time. For now, hope this has been helpful, and I'll catch you soon. Thank you.